Hello and welcome to this News Hour with the news. I'm Shifarao Lakau. President Sahle-Work Zewde has expressed Ethiopia's commitment to strengthening relations between Ethiopia and Burundi. The president has been in Burundi for a two-day official visit. Alula Teklemariam presents the story as follows.
Upon arrival at Molcher Ndadaye International Airport, President Sahle-Work was received a warm welcome by Burundian President Evariste Ndayishimiye. In her 2 days official visit to Burundi, President Sahle-Work, along her Burundian counterpart, discussed bilateral and regional issues to further strengthen relations between the two nations.
Our two countries have enjoyed a long-lasting relationship. We want to strengthen that.
On the first day of her working visit, the president visited the mausoleums of the heroes of independence and democracy in Burundi, accompanied by Burundian Vice President Prosper Buzambanza. Ethiopia and Burundi enjoyed a long-lasting relationship.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ethiopia has briefed African ambassadors on a range of issues, including current status of humanitarian assistance in Tigray, Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam negotiation, upcoming elections, and Ethio-Sudan border dispute. Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of the Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Demeqe Mekonnen, has given the briefing to resident ambassadors and diplomats of African countries in Ethiopia regarding the current issues. The Agency for Refugees and Returnees Affairs announces that it has been working aggressively in improving better services for Eritrean refugees in the state of Tigray. Director General of Agency for Refugee and Returnee Affairs, Tasfahon Gobezai, talking to ETV, says the government has given priority to discharging its international obligation of ensuring peace and security for the refugees. Jerusalem Petsia reports.
For Ethiopians, it's not new in helping each other, living together peacefully with tolerance and respectful manner. But not only Ethiopians for Ethiopians, rather Ethiopians have a good history and social value in receiving others. That's why Ethiopia is home to Africa's second largest refugee population after Uganda. Ethiopia hosts more than 1 million refugees who fled from different countries due to many reasons. From this number, 100,000 Eritrean refugees are living in different parts of the country. About 46,000 Eritrean refugees are living in different four camps in Tigray state. This Mayani refugee camp is one of the 4 camps of Eritrean refugees in Tigray state. Priest Qoban Mikhail Kidane is an Eritrean refugee who lives in Adi Harush refugee camp in Tigray state.
ካምፕ 10 ዓመት ሙሉ ተቀምጫለሁ ማለት ነው። ከዛ በመንግስት የሚደረግለት ነገር በጣም አሪፍ ነው።
I have been living here for the last 10 years. The Ethiopian government has supported me as much as possible. I would like to say thank you to the Ethiopian people and the government.
ያው መንግስት የሚችለው ነገር ያደርግልን እዛም አመሰግናለሁ ማለት ነው።
However, following to the law enforcement operation taken by the Ethiopian government against TPLF group in Tigray state, the clique has tried to demolish the good image of the country worldwide through disrupting humanitarian institutions. But Ethiopia is striving to handle such problems as per its international obligations.
The government is giving due concern and giving priority to safeguard and to fulfill its international obligations in ensuring the safety and protection of refugees in Ethiopia. And we have worked a lot of things. We have discussed with the military and other command posts who are operating in this area, and we have communicated with them that the safety of the refugees is our utmost priority, and they are also acting accordingly. We have constant communication with them. They give us information every time they have some incidents, and their safety is getting safeguarded by everyone who is concerned.
Tesfahan added Ethiopia has been implementing a better legal framework for the reception of refugees, enabling them to participate in various social issues. Currently, the agency has been striving to resume better service very quickly for Eritrean refugees.
There are four refugee camps for Eritrean refugees in Tigray, and they are Hizat, Shimelba, Mayaine, and Adiharush. We have been able to resume service in Hizat, in Adiharush and Mayaine very quickly after the interruption of the services by the law enforcement operation and the attack of TPLF on the military. Now we are seeing the progress every time. This is my first time when I coming to these camps, and I'm seeing a lot of progresses time and time. So we are working on making sure that the refugees are safe and they are in a good condition.
Ethiopia is one of the first 5 African countries participating in the Comprehensive Refugee Response Framework, CRRF, a set of commitments set out by the United Nations General Assembly in its 2016 New York Declaration for Refugees and Migrants, designed to improve ways of protecting people on the move.
Now, the role of the diaspora community is of paramount importance to promoting their country to the rest of the world in many aspects. They can, for example, suggest critics to the works being undertaken in the national reform agenda. In this regard, the diaspora community has announced that they should stand by the government of Ethiopia being a true nationalist, particularly in such opportune time. Kasamchan tells you more on that.
A renowned artist and human rights activist, Tamay Bayana, who has been known for preaching unity and Ethiopianism, is among the Ethiopian diaspora that the Premier has called on to return home and strive for the development and democratization of the country. According to Tamay Bayana, some paid lobbyists in the West have conspired and executed extensive misinformation campaigns against the Ethiopian government and produced misleading information about the law enforcement and the current situation of the country, which time has exposed the lies in bits and pieces. Tamay said that Ethiopians should stand in unison, respective of religious and ethnic differences, to inform what reality on the ground being undertaken in Ethiopia to the rest of the world being hand in glove.
Over our national unity, there is a clear and firm stance, and we should stand together, being close during this time. There are plenty of and talented people residing in America and Europe who are always committed to funding their country. There are various questions we would ask the government, and that question should be in the interior, not exterior. If it is exterior, there might be innumerable pressures on the government from the overseas, and we shouldn't accept these external forces over the government of Ethiopia as we are citizens.
Tamay also noted that the government should work day and night on the diplomatic activities through coordination of various scholars in the sector.
There are many Ethiopians who have the expertise and renowned personalities since Emperor Haile Selassie and Derg time in the diplomatic sector, and they can support the government through showing directions, supporting in various issues on the nation's further developmental endeavors ahead. The embassies are to be opened for Ethiopians as they have plenty of significances to compare with the rest of the world in the diplomatic arena.
The artist and human rights activist further called on the government of Ethiopia to ensure the observation of human and democratic rights and maintain safety and welfare of the public at every corner in the nation, particularly the enforcement of laws and safeguarding constitutional guarantees, the prevention, detection and investigation of crime, the coordination of national state ought to be strengthened more than ever.
A history researcher says the victory of Adwa was not simply to defeat Italy, but it was against European imperialism. The scholar Ayele Bakari says the victory of Adwa is a turning point in world history in which something different happened at Adwa in unison by the people from all walks of life. Goshu Melissa reports.
According to Jonas Raymond, in March 1896, a well-disciplined and massive Ethiopian army did the unthinkable. It routed an invading Italian force and brought Italy's war of conquest in Africa to an end. In the age of relentless European expansion, Ethiopia had successfully defended its independence and cast doubt upon an unshakable certainty of the age of imperialism. Ethiopia is set to celebrate the 125th victory of Adwa. Historian Ayele Bekari, who studied ancient civilization, said the victory of Adwa is important in unifying Africa. Ayele spoke out the victory of Adwa was not simply to defeat Italy, but it was against European imperialism.
Their ability to fight and defeat the Italians was not technically just simply against the Italians, it was against European imperialism, because European imperialism has already controlled almost the entire Africa with the exception of Liberia, and has put the whole Africa under its colonial order. So therefore that kind of fait accompli was disturbed by the victory at the Battle of Adwa.
He pointed out that the victory of Adwa is a turning point in world history.
Most historians say that it is a turning point in world history. They say it's a turning point in colonial history. It's a turning point because something different, something unique has happened at Adwa, and that was the ability of Ethiopians to form a very united force and confront the enemy, which intends to colonize Ethiopia, and became victorious against that enemy. And that didn't happen in any place in Africa other than Ethiopia. Ethiopia is the only non-colonized country in Africa.
Ayele also stated that the victory of Adwa became source of solidarity for all Africans.
The Ethiopians' ability to defeat the Italians who came to colonize Ethiopia gave the inspiration, the example, the courage for all Africans to fight against the very colonial forces that puts them under second-class citizens or colonial subjects. So therefore, in that context, Adwa becomes very significant. It becomes very important because Africans say, oh, if Ethiopians succeeded in defeating the Italians, now we should continue to fight, continue to resist until we also be in a position to defeat the British, the French, the Germans, the Portuguese, and so on and so forth. So therefore, Adwa became a source of inspiration and also a source of solidarity, in which that they would have the courage now, at least to kind of say, we can also fight and defeat the colonizers in our territories, in our regions. So therefore, in that sense, that's how that sense of unity emerged, and an African identity started to form shape, and then ultimately expressed in the form of Pan-Africanism, in the form of establishing institutions like the African OAU, Organization of African Union, and then later on it became African Union.
Adwa is a source of anti-colonialism and Pan-Africanism mentality, the historian noted.
Still staying on the victory of Adwa, the Adwa 0 Kilometer project can help pass the values of the Adwa victory to the next generation, was said. The project is now 45% complete and is expected to be finalized next year. Sentayo Tamrat brings us up to speed.
Although Ethiopians colorfully mark the victory of Adwa each year for the last 124 years, the country doesn't have a memorial center that depicts the victory in its entirety. To address this, a memorial center named Adwa 0 Kilometers was launched last year for this glorious victory of black people. The 11 buildings architecture is said to bear the values of Adwa.
Adwa is the seal of honor of Ethiopia. It is a symbol of freedom to the entire black people. This project is one way to express the victory of Adwa. Each of the 11 buildings has 3 to 5 floors. It looks like zero as you see it down from Minlik Square.
The Adwa project has a memorial museum, conference rooms, cafeterias, and entertainment centers.
There is a memorial museum to display the values and history of that victory. There is also a research center for the Adwa-related topics. The project further assumes displaying the landscape of Adwa area, including the mountain. This helps the public visualize the 1895 Adwa battle. Apart from the landscape of Adwa, it will show the people who came from different parts of Ethiopia and participated in the war. It will even show the drum used to gather the people. And different materials are being used for the architecture. You can see the Minilik monument from any direction. The monument is the depiction of Minilik and his horse as he was leading the Ethiopian army to the battlefield. The new project's elevation is down from this monument.
The city administration of Addis Ababa says it is doing hard to accomplish the project. The current progress is good and the workers are doing day and night. It will be accomplished as scheduled, though it is now lagged by 5%, the city administration said.
Now in our business story, Ethiopian ambassador